everybody, welcome back to Lectin Free Solutions. I'm here today to share a really tasty new recipe that I came up with. I think you're really going to like. This is a keto cookie recipe, and the primary ingredients are shredded coconut, chopped walnuts, and egg with a little bit of sweetener. It's super easy. I think it's really delicious, and I'm going to put it together for you to show you now how easy it is. Okay, well, we start with 2 pastured eggs, a half a teaspoon of vanilla, 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. Now, the recipe calls for 1/3 cup of sweetener of your choice, Bocha Sweet, Swerve, Allulose, whatever you like the best. I actually have made mine a little less sweet, so it's just a shy 1/3 cup. And to that, just mix all of those ingredients together in a bowl until the sweetener is combined with the eggs and the oil. Then we're going to add a pinch of salt, which is probably maybe an eighth of a teaspoon. Hard to measure. Pinch is a pinch. And then what we've got is 1 cup of chopped walnuts. You can chop these however you like. You can do a rough chop, you can do fine, whatever you particularly like. And 1.5 cups of shredded coconut. And that all goes into the mix. Then as soon as this is all combined, we're ready to roll. No mixer needed. Super, super easy. Now, normally the 2 eggs, you know, depending upon the size of your eggs will determine how moist this is. If it doesn't have enough moisture for you to hold together, then just add a little bit more olive oil. I've had that happen once in making these, but if you use extra large eggs or large eggs, it should be absolutely fine. And this is what your cookie batter or dough is going to look like. It's really loose. It's a little bit wet. So there are 2 ways to do this. The easiest way is just to take your tablespoon measure, put it into the container, and just put it upside down. And then you have sort of like little haystacks. That's very, very simple to do and super fast. Then the other way is to do exactly that, but instead of leaving them as a haystack, what you can do is take your hand and flatten them. You may need to take a little knife and clean up the edges a little bit. It really depends on whether you want a flat cookie or you like that haystack. They taste the same, it's just that the texture is slightly different. I will warn you, these are soft cookies. They're not crispy cookies. So if you don't like soft cookies, then this recipe isn't for you. But I think you're going to like it. It's another great way to get walnuts into your system to help your vascular system. You know me, I'm all about getting as many walnuts into our diet as I possibly can. And it's sort of nice to be able to have a dessert that is so healthy for you. All right, these are going to bake at 325 degrees for about 14 minutes. Once they're cooled, I'm going to use some Godiva chocolate unsweetened with some powdered compliant sweetener, and then I'll drizzle those. Now, if you don't want any chocolate, you can leave them plain, and they're just as delicious that way. So let me finish putting this tray together and get them in the oven. All right, we're back. The cookies are finished, and I've made them in 2 different shapes. One is mounded and the other is flat, so you'll just have to decide which one you like the best. Now, you know what? I have made up some chocolate to drizzle on the top of these with some Godiva unsweetened baking chocolate. And I added some powdered Bocha Sweet to it. And you know what? I want to just share one quick little tip with you. I have had trouble with some of the powdered compliant sweeteners getting lumpy. So what I do is I put them in another bag and then actually roll them with my rolling pin, and that gets rid of any lumps or bumps. I don't have to put it back in the coffee grinder and grind it out. just thought you might like to hear that little tip. Now, so what I did with this was I used the Godiva unsweetened bar. I put about 2.5 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil and about 2 to 3 tablespoons of Bocha Sweet, powdered Bocha Sweet. You can use whatever kind of sweetener that you like. In fact, if you don't want to go to those steps, you can use a bar like this that's already sweetened. I use these if I am not making my own bark. I try to keep my sugar content, my sugar levels super low, and this has sugar in it, so it's up to you which one you want to use. Anyway, the cookies are absolutely fine without the chocolate glaze, but I just think that it gives it that little added punch. So I have it all mixed together, and then what I'm going to do is just take my whisk and drop it in here and drizzle that chocolate on the cookies. Then once I go one way, I'll turn the chocolate and I will go the other way. I've got it on a cookie sheet here to collect any of the chocolate that is left over. I don't like to waste any of that, so I'll collect that and add it to any bark that I make. Usually that's what I do with this leftover chocolate if there is any. So now I'm going to go the opposite direction. So we have a little bit of a cross. I don't try to get perfect with this. It's just, I think in my family, they think the more chocolate, the more chocolate, the merrier. Now what we're going to do, these are drizzled pretty nicely. Now what I'm going to do is put these in the refrigerator to harden up. With this type of chocolate, you really have to refrigerate it or it's not going to set up. And then what I do is I refrigerate them. I keep them as a refrigerated cookie. Now, if you don't put the chocolate on them, that's really not necessary. But I always think that any of these cookies that have the alternative sugars, I think they hold up better in the refrigerator. So anyway, into the refrigerator we go. Here we are back with the different versions of the cookies. I've got the flat version without chocolate, also the flat version with the drizzled chocolate, and the mounded cookies with chocolate drizzled. I had quite a bit of chocolate left over, so I just took whole walnuts and put them into the bowl, mixed them all up, put them on some parchment paper, and put them in the refrigerator. And we've got some really nice chocolate clusters. These are delicious, and they keep in the refrigerator for a long, long time. No sense having to make up more chocolate when you've already got that left over. Anyway, as I mentioned before, it's a good idea to store these in the refrigerator, and I hope that you have fun with this recipe. There's a lot of different things that you can do, other options for adding maybe a little bit of dried cranberry or chocolate pieces. Let me know what you come up with. I always like to hear that. Also, thank you again for all your continued support in watching my channel. I really appreciate it. Please like and subscribe while you're here so I can make more content for you like this. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.